Take that balance there. Essentially 6 years, but 43 months of it to be served after the Virginia term. So Paul Manafort, 69 years old, likely to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Maybe, John. Let me break down the numbers here. So he had 47 months on the sentence from Virginia. The judge just now effectively added 43 months on top of that. So that brings us, doing math here, but I'm doing my best, 90 months total. Now, in the federal system, there's no parole, but prisoners can get 15% off for good conduct in prison. So if you take that away, that'll put him at about 77 months. But also remember, Manafort has been in jail for 9 months. He gets credit for that. So that brings us down to 68 months. And again, if I'm doing the math and the calendar correct, that means he would get out in November of 2024.
It's a huge fall from grace, if that's the right word, for Paul Manafort. I met Paul 30 years ago when I came to Washington. If you remember him from the 2016 convention and the campaign, a big man, swagger, now humbled today by a federal judge who's sending him to prison for quite some time. To be clear, none of these charges have anything to do with the President of the United States, and that is the argument the Trump legal team will make. You could flip a coin and say if you judge a man by the company he keeps, Paul Manafort's going to prison, Michael Flynn convicted, Rick Gates conflicted, Michael Cohen going to prison. You could look at it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we went from, I hire all of the best people to all of the best people I hired are now on their way to jail cells. So, it's a little bit of a different tune. I think that today is, it's a mixed bag. Paul Manafort, obviously, he's 69 years old. He's going to be going to jail for a long time for that age. And, he has taken a huge hit to obviously his wealth. We talked about how he's lost his trust funds for his children. Make no mistake, he's lost all of this because he was defrauding banks, because he wasn't paying taxes. This wasn't a punishment. This is restitution to these institutions that he has defrauded, including the U.S. government. But for the prosecution, which was looking at, potentially getting Manafort 25 years in Virginia and a maximum of 10 years in D.C., this is a very small sentence compared to what they could have gotten. You are going to see everyone who is a defender of the president out there saying the prosecution didn't get nearly as much as they wanted. And by the way, there was still no evidence of collusion. That's not what Manafort was on trial here, too. And, that's a perfectly reasonable talking point for them to be out there trotting today. Right.